You want me to be honest? I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm fuming. I'm on fire. I'm mad because I care more about you than you care about me, and that's how it's always fucking gone! I'm tired of it. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm tired of feeling so much. I'm tired of being in my head. I hate it. I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry. And no matter how much I try to let go of it and give it to God, it's still so heavy. I feel hopeless. I feel humiliated. I'm embarrassed. I'm confused. And I can't ask for help. I'm over it, bro. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. Sick of this. I don't want to feel anymore. Feeling's what's supposed to make somebody a person. And I don't even want to feel anymore. I'm just done. I'm done.
Crash out season. And how these people feel is only going to get worse. This is Ephesians 5:15, and it reads, "See then ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil." All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. It's about to get real ugly, man. All right, and we'll get into the main topic at hand in a few minutes here, but let's get into it.
Let's bring in head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, Patrick DeHaan, for more. Patrick, oil prices have reached over $100 for the first time in 4 years. What does that mean right now, and what will it mean in the next few weeks?
Well, point blank sticker shock for many Americans hitting their gas pumps, and the increases are set to re-throttle back up this week. That's with oil up 10%. Gas stations are seeing intraday rack increases. What that means in common words is gas stations are seeing their costs go up in real time again today as oil markets are jumping. And that's going to mean another round of price increases over the course of this week. Prices could jump another 15 to 35 cents a gallon for gasoline over the next 3 days as long as nothing changes. And it's going to be worse for the price of diesel, which could jump 35 to 50 cents a gallon. That would put it close to nearly a $5 a gallon national average. Now, gasoline may get closer to $4, maybe not quite there yet, but it's going to be another round of price spikes for many Americans this week.
How do these oil prices now compare to what we've seen during other conflicts and wars?
Well, during the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we saw spikes to $135 a barrel, though WTI crude oil settled down to about $120 for a longer period of time. Back in 2008, at the height of ahead of the height of the recession, we saw oil prices advancing to $148 a barrel. So oil prices today, not historic, though overnight, we saw some fairly apocalyptic increases. Oil prices at one point last night up 29%. Thankfully, those numbers have calmed down here so far today. But this is truly certainly unprecedented situation. We haven't seen increases at the pace that we're seeing them in at least 4 years. So it's pretty rapid, the increases. And unfortunately, I do think it may re-intensify over the next 72 hours.
If the Strait of Hormuz were to reopen soon, how long would it take for oil prices to go back down?
Well, there probably would be a fairly noticeable decline immediately, and it's going to need more than lip service for us to really have confidence that's happening. We're going to have to really see if ships turn on their ADS, their transponders. Do they have enough confidence to put at risk $100 to $250 million in cargoes? That's the biggest question. If we see that, oil prices could plummet by 15% rather quickly. But keep in mind, every day this situation has been ongoing. We've lost roughly 20 million barrels of oil and products that would have flowed through the market. As you've mentioned, oil producing countries like Kuwait and Iraq already throttling back on oil production. So there's going to be some slack that still does not allow oil to fall back to its pre-war level for quite some time. Now, Secretary of Energy has said weeks. The president has illustrated weeks. I think it's going to be more measured and months. And every day the situation continues, it could add another several weeks to the recovery time.
All right, Patrick De Haan, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
There you go. All right, so getting to the main point here, right? This is from trendingpoliticsnews.com. It says U.S. intercepts Iranian intel carrying ominous warning about sleeper cells, right? So like I said, it's going to get ugly. All right, we ain't seen nothing yet. It says Iran may be preparing to activate sleeper cells abroad after U.S. intelligence intercepted an encrypted message believed to have originated inside the Islamic Republic, according to an alert reported by ABC News. The communication was described as an operational trigger directed at sleeper assets, covert operatives embedded in foreign countries who live quietly among civilians until they are ordered to strike. You see that? You know, and this has been in the making since the Biden administration, all right, when they let all those people that they didn't know about through the borders, all right? They were talking about the sleeper cells. They were talking about agents, foreign agents and things like that, you know, criminals, all right? So America is in for a rude awakening, man, all right? It says U.S. analysis say the coded signal surfaced shortly after Iran's longtime supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in a joint U.S.-Israeli airstrike in Tehran on February 28th. His son, Mojtaba Khamenei, has since been elevated to the role of supreme leader. It says, according to the alert, the encrypted message was transmitted across several countries and flagged by American intelligence agencies, which believe it was, quote, likely of Iranian origin and intended for clandestine recipients using passcodes, all right? So I got the video here. Let's get into it, all right, and we'll grab some scriptures here, all right?
Meanwhile, the federal government's alerting law enforcement agencies Iran may be activating sleeper cells. The alert says the U.S. intercepted encrypted communications that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets. ABC News contributor, former Homeland Security official Elizabeth Newman's here for more on that. Hi, Elizabeth. So you say officials are concerned Iran's proxy, Hezbollah, might have agents inside the U.S. So given that context, how concerning is this new alert, and how are law enforcement agencies monitoring for these potential threats?
Anytime we go to war overseas, there is a homeland threat component to it, especially a country like Iran does not have the capability to beat us militarily. So they rely on asymmetric means. So they will look to use cyber attacks. They will look to use proxies like Hezbollah, criminal agents to try to disrupt things here in the homeland. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing this bulletin. I'm a little concerned that it took a week for this to come out. I've talked to a number of state and local partners over the last week. Everybody knew that this is the likely scenario. We go to war with Iran, we should expect that their proxies are possibly being activated, and we all need to be on heightened alert.
Exactly. This is what we said, man. Hey, Ephesians 5:16, redeeming the time because the days are evil, man. It's so many various scenarios that can go down in America right now, all right? Ezekiel 7, all right? Ezekiel 7 and in verse 5, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. Right? Sleeper cells, cyber attacks, EMPs, all right? So-called suicide bombers, all types of shit, man. Okay? And these These agents are waiting to be activated, man. Okay? Verse 7, the morning is come unto thee, O that dwellest in the land. The time is come, the day of trouble is near, and not the sounding again of the mountains. All right? So it's going to get terrible. All right? You thought this chick in the beginning was crashing out. You ain't seen nothing yet, man. All right? And these Americans, they're already on edge, man. Okay? Hyperinflation, price hikes. It's unaffordable to live. Okay? This Iranian war. Okay? These American people are not with it. They're divided against Trump. Okay? MAGA's falling apart. All right? These Americans see that they're owned by the tiny tops. Okay? It's over for Babylon the Great. Okay? The American dream is finished. All right? The so-called American glory is out the window, man. All right? Like I said before, we're watching the end of Babylon, the end of America live, man. The fall of Esau live. The goddamn Epstein files. All right? Nasty work. Have you seen the pictures? Goddamn Bill Clinton in a dress. All right? Stephen Hawking in a damn dress. Nasty work, man. Bunch of PDFs, Satanists. Okay? It's a fucking rap, man. Okay?
And Elizabeth, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling on President Trump to tap the strategic petroleum reserves to lower gas prices. What impact could that have, and what does the president need to consider here?
Well, traditionally, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is not going to drop our gas prices significantly. What we just heard from Elizabeth Schulze is something that we as consumers are going to have to deal with for probably some time, for the amount of time that this military conflict takes to come to an end. But there is some benefit, especially if you think about the fuel that the government needs to use. I think about even in the Department of Homeland Security's mission. It is a very large department with a ton of mission. We have Coast Guard, we have Border Patrol, we have any number of emergency management needs where fuel is really important to be able to keep the lights on if you have a blackout. So it's important that we keep the fuel moving. I'll defer to the economist as to whether or not the release actually helps those of us who have to go fill up the car this week.
So how do rising gas prices affect Homeland Security operations?
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge, right? Like we are used to trying to predict a bit of a stable understanding of what the oil prices are going to be. And when you budget for your spend in an agency, and this isn't just the Department of Homeland Security, this would be any agency with operators that drive for the purpose of doing their patrols. This is true for state and local law enforcement as well. We rely on gas for getting people to where they need to be to keep us safe. So those prices go up pretty significantly, then yes, that blows your budget, which would be fine if we actually had acting budgets that had and grant funding that had been released. I am really concerned right now that the Department of Homeland Security is technically shut down with the exception of ICE. That has led to delays in funding for state and local partners. They've been 6 months without their Homeland Security grant funds, and they need those funds to be able to do things like purchase the more expensive fuel, but also to pay for law enforcement who might need to be on surge right now. We might need to be having extra patrols to make sure that mass gatherings or protests, as we saw in New York, remain safe. So the funding is really important here. We need that grant funding to be released.
You say the U.S. appears to be pursuing several different objectives in Iran at once. What do you mean by that, and what's your biggest concern?
Well, over the last week, we've heard a rotating a series of commentary from different members of the administration, including the president. And we keep hearing different things about what the objectives are. I have no doubt that the military knows what their objectives are from an operational perspective, and that they will, in all likelihood, be successful at accomplishing their objectives. There are planners, military planners, and those that oversee the execution of their military operations are excellent. But I am concerned that strategically, we don't actually know what the end goal is here. And that's what I would like to hear from the president and from the Secretary of State. What are we ultimately hoping to accomplish with this military action?
Elizabeth, thank you.
Yeah, there you go. All right. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 28. And it reads, it says, behold, in horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, all right, the Middle East, all right, where all the drama is happening right now. Verse 29, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia, all right, the Ishmaelite nations, okay, shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them should be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmenians, all right, the Carmenians are the Persians, which are the Iranians, all right. Also the Carmenians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, which that's tied back to America, man. And what you have now, as we brought out before going into this, you have something called the Axis of Resistance, all right, which comprises of Iran, Syria, Hezbollah, Palestine, Iraq, Yemen, and they're all against the U.S. and Israeli hegemony that's trying to dominate the so-called Middle East right now, all right, which is causing all the tension globally, right? So they're getting ready to, and according to what's actually going on, okay, they're actually, whooping America's ass right now, man. They're not losing the wars they're trying to put in the mainstream news, okay? Verse 31, it says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, right? Spiritual. What's going on right now? Okay, they're sending missiles out, man. They're destroying, bases, man. Military, U.S. military bases. Okay, soldiers are dying, man. Okay, these are the things that are not really going reported. They're saying the numbers are low, but according to other sources, the numbers are high, man. Remember the nature, it says, and if they shall turn themselves conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, and then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. The point, verse 33, 2nd Ezra 15:33, and from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, right? These are those sleeper cells, man, that are waiting to be activated, as we just heard about, that are all throughout America, from coast to coast, man. Okay, ready to do what they got to do. It says, and from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them. And it says, and in their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings, man. So, hey, this is going to cause pure hell to break out in America once this go down. All right. And see, so they know that they're here. All right. So anything can happen in any day, as we've been saying, lesson after lesson, man. Okay. America is in for a rude awakening, man. All right. So again, keep your head on the swivel. All right. The days are evil, man. Be circumspect, man. All right. It's going down. Shalom.